Okay, last up, we're going to do a really quick crowdfunding corner here, since it's just me without Devin. I didn't have as much time this last week. This is going to be a very, very quick one, but we do have 6 games here that I wanted to just highlight this week, so that we didn't miss any in the gap between a couple. First up here is Spooktacular. It's called a tabletop game of B-movie horror thrills. In this game, you play as one of 20 different movie monsters. And I think they're kind of knockoffs of actual monsters. Like instead of the Blob, it's Rigu. And I mean, there's some definite nods to other horror movies. Mummy Gator, Tomb of the Mummy Gator 3. It's kind of like a nod to the Mummy maybe, or the Swamp Thing or something. I really love horror movies, and those old Universal monsters, I really like those, like Dracula and the Mummy and the Wolfman and things like that. So I really like the art style and the vibe that this game is going for. It seems like a pretty simple game, and I hope that it has enough kind of depth to be exciting. Basically, you play on this movie theater board, and you're trying to move around to the different rooms in the movie theater. And I don't know if scare is the right word. I think they call it something else, like capture, or where's the how to play? Oh, it's just a video. I want to remember that word. I don't think it was capture. Dang it. It doesn't matter. You play in there and you are, consume. I think consume is the word. So you're trying to consume innocent people, which are represented by meeples, so the guests at the movie theater. And you're playing cards on your turn, and you're moving around to the different rooms, and you're setting traps in order to do that. And again, like I said, it kind of seems like a kind of entry-weight level game, but I like the theme. I like that there are those asymmetric monsters to choose from, so that you have a little bit of variability from game to game. I think it was $55 if I'm remembering correctly. And yeah, there's 20 player boards because each monster, villain, whatever we're calling them, plays a little bit differently than the others. Yeah, $55 for this base game, or you can do $94 that includes the base game and this 99 heroes bonus. And what else is in there? Let's just scroll down and see. It also includes Mask of the Outlander playing cards, Spooktacular CCG playmat. Anyways, I would probably just look at the base version there, to be honest, but I don't know that the weight of this game is that exciting to me, but kind of reminds me of something like what's the word? What is the game? Horrified. But I would be more interested in this because I'm less keen on cooperative games. So anyways, that is Spooktacular, a tabletop game of B-movie horror thrills. It ends on the 26th. You've only got a couple more days here, and that one is on Kickstarter. Next up is, I think, a sequel of sorts. It plays very differently to, oh dang it, now I can't remember what that, Villagers of the Oak Dell, which was a roll and write game that this company released last year. And this one is called Dungeons of the Oak Dell from Two Acorns Games. And they make really solid print and play roll and write games. This one I feel like is pretty unique in how it plays. So it's a dungeon crawl. You're moving through this dungeon, and as you're moving around, you will fight different monsters. But I think the way that you fight them is the most unique. You roll dice to determine where you can draw lines. And then when you're drawing these lines, wherever they intersect on the monster is a hit point or a damage that you've done to them. And so this second line intersected twice on the monster, and so they did 2 damage with that one line. Kind of has this cool, like, I don't even know what you would call that. It kind of reminds me of, like, I don't know, you're like spreading these sword strokes that look like string or something across these monsters. And so the monsters have different like shapes and positions kind of within that circle of dots that you can draw a sword slash through. Like the monster that they were showing there is kind of dodging this bottom left section a little bit. But anyways, I think that's a pretty cool idea. Very unique, at least. And in the base game, you get 1 hero sheet, 9 monsters, 1 boss, 1 dungeon map. Or you can, and that's for $7 or for $14. You can see I've already backed this one. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to keep it because dungeon crawls aren't my favorite for sure. But yeah, just wanted to. I backed it just while I was thinking about it. For twice that, for $14, you get 5 different heroes, 21 different monsters, 6 different bosses, and 6 different dungeon maps. So if you really think you'll like that system, we got a lot more variety there in that one. So wanted to give that one a shout out because their roll and write games are pretty smooth and unique in my opinion. So that is Dungeons of the Oak Dell. Ends on the 30th of this month on Kickstarter. Next up is a game I've been very curious about. It came out, I think, last year, called Lands of Galzyr, and man, I think it was very popular. It's kind of a story-based game where you're building up your own character across this board as the seasons change and it becomes like snowy. And I think it says here you can play it competitive or cooperative. And so I'm intrigued by that a little bit. Sometimes I get nervous when games claim that they can do more than one game mode. Like, can you do them both well, right? But this one got such like high praise that I've been curious to do a little more research into it. And this is a expansion called Dreams and Mysteries for that game. Everything fits in the base game's box, and it has new. What does it say? Yeah, here we go. You've got a new adventurer, which is a lizard and a small little baby frog called Noku and Umi. And you've got expanded personal stories for each character, new special abilities, kind of a mystery deck, it looks like. And yeah, just a bunch of new cards and stuff to add to the base game. I think it's listed how many cards were here, and it was a big number. Well, maybe it didn't. I could have sworn that it did, though. Expansion contents. Kind of this cool upgrade system for this game where you attach these like half circle. That's not even half. It's like a 1/6 of a circle kind of peg in there. I think. And yeah, you keep track of like your health points, I think here. Yeah, 240 cards in this expansion, it looks like. Across a bunch of different categories. And they have nice card dividers in the base game box so that you can keep everything organized. And it has a save system where you can keep out the last story card so that you can start the game right back up next time. I've heard the save system is actually excellent. So anyways, it does also have this digital storybook, but it mentioned right here that you can, what's it say? A website you can download and use offline. So I think that's pretty cool. It's not something that like, I could take this, download the storybook, and then I could go to a cabin or whatever where I don't have internet and it would still work because I've downloaded it all beforehand. I like that. I like that idea. So it's not just like an app that always has to get its data from the internet. So anyways, it's kind of a story-based game. I don't know a ton about the gameplay, to be honest, other than I think the artwork is very cute and it reviewed extremely well from other creators. And so I've been interested in it. And this might be my time to jump in. I'm going to do a bit more research and see. Again, I'm very picky with cooperative games and with story-based games. I do need to finish Near and Far behind me and see if story-based games are really for me or not. I think this expansion, it's either 40 euros. It comes with a plushie of one of the characters, or it's 25 euros. And you can get the expansion and the base game for about 90 euros. So that would probably be where I might jump in. We'll see. I'd love to know in the comments if you've played Lands of Galzyr, if you would recommend it to somebody that generally likes Euro games that are more of like a single session. And so that would be kind of my worry there with, will I be turned off by this game, or is it something I could get into? I don't mind like reading stories. I'm going through the kind of the campaign storybook of Welcome to the Moon right now with some friends, and it's been really fun. It's really silly. You just kind of read through the scenario if you're the captain for that round, and then make a decision, and that will affect which new cards might come out and which objectives you'll be playing with for the next mission. But this is a little bit more and a little bit is probably not the right term. This is a lot more story heavy than something like that. But anyways, yeah, I'd love to know if you've played this one. So let me know in the comments. That is Lands of Galzyr, the Dreams and Mysteries expansion. It's on Gamefound, and it ends on October 1st. Okay, 3 more. First one is called Overparked. This is a small game from a company in Singapore about trying to organize a parking garage. And I think it looks like it could be fun. I like a good like polyomino game where you're trying to organize things in kind of a puzzle-like way. It has what seems like a kind of interesting system. Everyone has their own board where they're managing their own parking garage. And then on every turn you spin this steering wheel, and based on which player you are or which color you are playing as, it will be pointing at one of the cards, and that's the card that you will add to your hand. And then everyone will play a card from their hand to add cars to their parking garage, and if you meet any of the objectives like fill in the corners or have this distinct shape or have a traffic cone here or something like that, then you'll get points. Doesn't seem like the scoring or the placement rules are like especially like unique, but I think it seems like it could be pretty fun. Shipping to America is a little brutal, but I did want to give it a shout out. I like the idea, and I kind of like the minimalist art style too, to be honest. So that is Overparked, a puzzle strategy game by Ori Game. It ends on October 1st on Kickstarter. All right, and 2 more. We've got, and I watched the video to see how the game was pronounced, and I've already forgotten. I think it's Epireia, the Hellenic Hegemony. This game was a little hard to tell exactly what it was, how the gameplay would play through the page here and the video. But basically, you are controlling like a different government of ancient Greece, and each of the factions, governments, whatever they are, has I think 5 different what they call here legendary Greek personalities that are politicians, artists, queens, and athletes. And you'll be moving those characters around to different regions in Greece, and you'll be doing things there like I think conquering them or fighting with other players, or like forming alliances if you move to the outside sections of the map. And you do that all and you're moving up on your own personal player board, trying to like have the most of these resources and move up on this, what was that track called? I think it's like, not Splendor. Oh, dang it, it's gonna drive me nuts. You can add a building to your city, you're increasing your army, your prestige track here. And so you're doing that through most of the game, but then it has this weird structure at the end of the game. It's basically a rush to what it sounded like convert everything that you've done then into different military units, because the final confrontation, it seems like, determines the victor for the game. And yeah, it says here the player with the most victories wins the game there during the final confrontation. So there's kind of like a change, or like a second phase to the game that happens at that point after the other rounds have been played. Again, it was a little tricky to tell exactly how the game would play just from this page alone. I didn't read through the rulebook, which would help there a bit, I'm sure, but this image here kind of shows the different leaders moving around the board, gaining influence and clashing with each other from time to time. I really like the minimalist art style. Kind of, again, taking a chance on that alone is the reason I decided to include it today. And reading through, I thought that idea was novel of, okay, now everything that I've done, I want to convert it into military strength so that I can be the victor at the end of the game. I definitely won't be backing this one until I've read the rulebook, just to kind of visualize the turn structure a bit better. But yeah, artwork looks cool. Cool idea at the end there. But just wanted to give that one a shout out too. That's Epireia, the Hellenic Hegemony. And that one ends on October 3rd. Okay, last up this week is what I thought was a pretty cool looking 2-player abstract game. And this game you can get 2 different ways. You can get the print and play, which is probably what I will do just to test it out. But you can also back it, and they make you your own board. So it's in Worcestershire. I'm not exactly sure how they pronounce that over in the UK, but it's in the UK is where they're making them and shipping from. But they make the board completely out of oak, I think it was said. We're in reward tiers here. We've got acrylic flower tokens. The game board is made from solid oak. And the tokens are stored in 2 velvet bags, and the game arrives in a cardboard box. Anyways, I thought that was really cool. They make them out of solid oak. But in this game, you're trying to connect your color of flower from one side, your side, these kind of 3 home base squares. How many squares are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's a 7 by 7 grid of squares, kind of, like a chess or a checkerboard. And on your side, the middle 3 on the row closest to you are a different color. They're kind of like your home base. And if you can connect a line of your flowers, I think they're called blooms in the game, or blossoms maybe, from your home base to the opponents, then you win. Or if I think you've run out of tokens, then whoever has the most on the board wins. The way you do that, each player has an action marker on the outside edge of the board, and there are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different actions you can take. And on your turn, you will move your action token 1, 2, or 3 leaves forward and do the action there, which might be to kind of, there's terms for all of them that I can't remember, but toss out like a flower 3 spaces ahead of another one, or to place 2 flowers in kind of a line adjacent to one you've already placed. Or the overgrowth action, I think, is probably the most interesting one. If your opponent has a piece that you have surrounded on 2 of the 4 sides, then you can use that overgrowth action to remove it from the board and grow yours in its place. So that's how you will remove some of theirs and get more of yours on the board as well. So a cool system there where it's kind of a action selection rondel around the outside edge of the board. Kind of reminded me of Patchwork in a way. Kind of a similar vibe there with choosing your actions, but the actions are all different, kind of with that goal of creating that unbroken line to your opponent's home base isn't the right term. The shaded area Maybe they just call it the shaded area. I like home base better. So anyways, a very indie project here. But I like a good abstract game. I think this one looks really pretty. Again, shipping from the UK to America is a little expensive, so I'll probably be checking it out at the print and play level, which is about $6 there, and should be available next month. But you can laminate that, get just some of your own little tokens in order to simulate the cool flowers that they print there. But I do think that the ones they're making look nice. The all oak board, and then it's acrylic flowers, but there are some add-ons where you can bump the acrylic tokens up to oh come on, I clicked down here, to oak veneer player pieces in 2 different sets of colors, or get a signed copy, or have a personalized message on the back of the board. So cool kind of indie project there, in my opinion. All right, now for pick of the week, since I've closed all the tabs, it's a little bit hard for me to remember. But let me see. I think the one that I wanted to give pick of the week to is probably going to be... It was either going to be this one, Overgrowth here, or Lands of Galzyr. I think I'll give it to this one, just because I think Lands of Galzyr is already getting like a ton of love. So pick of the week for me is Overgrowth. I like a good short 2-player kind of abstract game. This one seems a little bit unique. There are games where you're trying to make your own unbroken line to the other side, but the idea here that you and your opponent are both going around the same action selection rondelle could be pretty fun. So I want to download the rulebook, look at that one a little bit closer, and see if that's a game that I would enjoy. And no Devin this week, so we'll say that his pick of the week was Lands of Galzyr. That way I can cheat a little bit and have 2. Where is it? It's oh man, I thought I had the tab saved here, but I don't. Luckily, it was right here on Gamefound's front page. So yeah, Lands of Galzyr, very beautiful artwork, kind of a story narrative-based game that it sounds like you can play cooperatively or competitively. So again, I'm going to look at both of those in a little more detail and see if they are games that I want to back.